Let's talk about Monday, the beginning of week 5 in the NBA. Who are the guys to stream? How do we attack the schedule for this week coming up? Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Voice Cracking, but also Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and you only believe that diamonds are valuable because you've been brainwashed to believe that. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free, and we are available on all platforms. And yes, that was a deliberate double onyx that came on the screens. We're talking diamonds. Thank you for making this the number one sports podcast network, number one. That is Locked On. Thank you to you guys for making it, for committing to us and listening and enjoying our shows and our takes and our, lack of personality in this case, whatever it is, but we're trying to hit 100K as well. I want that skull, this one. I love the skull, love it, but I want it replaced by a YouTube play button. So let's hit it, 9K to go. I want to get there. We're talking the games on Monday. There are 8 of those games on Monday, so that is what we're going to look at. We're going to look at streams of the day. We're going to look at how the schedule plays out and the ways that we can manipulate or use it to our advantage. Let's have a quick look, though, first of all, at just how the schedule actually looks. What are the games that are on Monday, and how do we pay attention to that? We talk about start times. We are starting 7 p.m. Eastern, and we finish at, not too late actually in the day. 10 p.m. Eastern is the last tip, so we don't have any of those. I'm sure we're going to have a crazy one of those on, let's see. Let's do a quick look ahead to Tuesday. Yeah, we do that. Insane 8 p.m. Pacific tip. Love those games. Not terrible. All right, Pacers, Pistons, first game. Both teams just could be completely banged up, although we'll talk about it in a sec, actually. Clippers, Sixers, next game. Bucks, Cavs. Knicks, Heat. Hornets, Raptors. Mavericks, Timberwolves. Thunder, Pelicans. And Bulls, Nuggets is the final game of the day. So let's look at the games individually. What game have we got? Up first, of course, we are talking about that Pacers and Pistons game. John Furphy, the dildo, remains out. Quentin Jackson is out. Bennett Mathurin, though, has been upgraded to questionable. That's huge. What that also probably means is that Jeremiah Robinson-Earl's contract will not be able to be extended on his... Or not he's that's not true. The Jeremiah Robinson-Earl stuff, someone has to be waived for him to be added, but in terms of their ability to have hardship contracts, given that Nembhard's returned and Mathurin is returning, they might not have those 10-day spots available anymore. Anyway, Robinson-Earl's separate issue. I confused it. Mathurin might be back. The big ones are going to be what happens to the Pistons, because Cunningham, Duren, and Asar Thompson, don't know. Toby Harris, I'm expecting to be out. Jaden Ivey expecting to be out. And I think both those guys can come back this week. Cunningham, Duren, Thompson, all of those guys' absence or presence is going to have impacts on who is streamable on that day. Dennis Jenkins, Paul Reed, Javonte Green went off last game. Rugged Ronnie Holland maybe does. Look, he's the only one who hasn't done anything, so maybe he's the one who goes off. Like, there's a lot of different ways that can play out with the two best players on this team, honestly, Duren and Cade, and then Asar Thompson there as well. The next game is the Clippers and the Philadelphia 76ers. And I'm recording this as the Clippers game on Sunday is on. And I'll tell you right now, he's not on this list, but Derek Jones is not playing. He hurt his knee and it looked bad, like really bad. And I don't know if we see Derek Jones again this season. Would think, if you had to guess, you'd say probably not. It looked really bad. Kawhi is expected to be out. So that means that those guys that play the four, it's John Collins and... it's Nick Batum. Maybe it's Kobe Brown. Jordan Miller also pinged his hamstring as well. So you had one big game, one limited game, and then injured again. So he's out again. On the Sixers side, we're expecting Embiid out. Boner is also out. So the center rotation is Andre Drummond and undersized Jabari Walker. Jonah Broom, maybe. It's Drummond, man. Oubre hurt his knee. He's going to be out for a bit of time. The thing we don't know is the status of Paul George. I'm labeling him questionable at this point. I don't think he plays. But we heard that they were evaluating at the end of the week, and that's passed, so we don't know. Will we just get an update of him being questionable? It is possible. It is possible that George makes his season debut against his former team on Monday. Nothing is confirmed. And by the time you're watching this, you might know for sure, Josh, you're an absolute idiot. He's been ruled out. Or maybe they've said he's playing. When you're watching this, I don't know. We'll see. The next game, Milwaukee and Cleveland is this one. We have got Darius Garland. Remember when he hurt his toe and they said he's out for injury maintenance on the back-to-back? And we all said, no, he's not. He re-injured it. We saw him do that. He re-injured it. He aggravated the toe. And of course, he's missed 3 in a row since then. So we don't know actually how severe this is. I am getting a little worried about Garland, about where this toe injury is. I know where it is. It's attached to his foot. But like what the status of it is in terms of when the recovery occurs. Jalen Tyson's still out with a concussion. Maybe 1 or 2 more out, I'd guess. And if he returns and Garland's out, then we do use Tyson as an option. Yanni is probable. Yanni Antetokounmpo, in case you didn't know which Yanni we're talking about. But he's always, at any point, like, there's always a risk that you can get a random late out from Antetokounmpo. The next one after that Bucks-Cavs game, we're talking about the Knicks and the Heat. What we know is that Bam is out. Brunson is out. Hero is out. Anunoby is out, and for some reason I capitalized it. Anunoby's out at least 2 weeks with a hamstring strain. Brunson's out probably the rest of this week. So you're going to have a bunch of spuds stepping up into roles, and we're going to chase production, which is what we do. You have Clarkson, you have McBride, who's also questionable, by the way, for a personal issue. You're going to have Shamet, who could hit 7 threes or have 8 points. All right, they're the options of what Shamet does because he doesn't do anything else. But we're going to have opportunities for guys, clearly. Hero and Bam still out. They are going to have a gigantic impact on the Heat's rotation and on their fortunes, of course, but on their rotation. But they're still out for this one. The next game, the 5th game of the day. Which one is this one? It's the Hornets and the Raptors. LaMelo Ball sat out the last game on a back-to-back, so he should be returning here. Ochai Agbaji, Jameson Battle, questionable. Liam McNeely, I believe Liam McNeely has just been ruled out. He has, so he will not play. And Brandon Miller remains out. Hopefully we're getting some updates on Miller soon. I would think that by week 6, which is next week, that he might return, but it's the Hornets. My man Josh Longstaff is, my alter ego Josh Longstaff is letting down the Josh-based team. Oh, come on, Joshy. The next game is, what is the next game? Did I move to the wrong page? No, I'm here. It's Dallas and Minnesota. Anthony Davis is doubtful on Sunday, and that's annoying because he was questionable, and questionable, and questionable, and questionable, and now they've said doubtful. So did he have a setback, or is Patrick Dumont thumbing the scale? Because they're going to trade Anthony Davis this season. That's going to happen. I do not believe that he will never play for Dallas again, and they're holding him out, which again would be a terrible blow for the people that believe in trade showcasing. A disgraceful blow that they would never recover from if Davis never plays for Dallas again while they trade him. Just a horrendous blow to the narrative that is fake, of course, of trade showcasing. But it looks like they're just going to keep holding him for a bit of time here. So, but look, it is possible, though, that Davis is doubtful for Sunday but plays Monday. Possible. PJ Washington has been upgraded to probable, so he missed that one game, and everyone getting very excited about Najee Marshall. Marshall's value will evaporate once both Davis and Washington are there, and we've also seen a pretty decent sample size of Marshall with Washington around and with Lively and Gafford either in or out, and he didn't do anything. It really took Washington being out for Marshall to fire up, which is exactly what happened in that one game, but it could be a short-lived one-day stream scenario. Terrence Shannon is out for the Wolves, and that's probably all that matters there. The next game is one of the later ones. We're talking the Thunder and the Pelicans. Zion Williamson is still currently questionable for Sunday. Now, I will tell you this right now, much like we did with LaMelo the other day. If Zion plays Sunday, he's not playing on Monday. Like, that is just not happening. Not because it's Zion, because when you come back from a hamstring injury, you don't run straight into a back-to-back. It's just not happening. So I got Zion as questionable, but in reality, I probably should have said probable/doubtful, meaning if he doesn't play Sunday, he'll almost certainly play Monday. But if he does play Sunday, he won't play Monday. The questionable stuff is me just in the middle of it. The Bronco is still out. I no idea when Jalen Williams is returning. Maybe end of the week, but no idea. Jordan Poole remains out. He'll be out all of this week, I'm guessing. And then we have the Thunder continually just having a million guys hurt and questionable. Alex Caruso left the last game with hand soreness. Is that fake? I don't know. I mean, it's not fake, but is it serious enough to impact him? Big Jalen Williams. Vietnamese legend Jalen Williams. I've got like a lot of nicknames I could use for him, but I feel like some of them might just border on, like, maybe it borders on offensive, and I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to do it. Jalen Williams, Aaron Wiggins. Like, and we know that Caruso, Wiggins, Williams all miss, and then you get like random pop-ups from Usman Jang, and you get bigger minutes for AJ Mitchell and the Hong Kong mattress Cason Wallace, and then their rotation is just all over the shop every game through injuries and the fact that they're just one of the best teams we've literally ever seen. They got the Clippers pick, by the way, for this upcoming draft. Let's go through to the last game of the day. We're talking about the Bulls and the Nuggets. The Bulls are on a back-to-back here as well. Now, both Josh Giddey and Kobe White, and Kobe White's going to play. Chris Haynes said he's going to play, so he's going to play on Sunday, and Giddey's probable too. Does that mean that they play Monday? I think Giddey will play Monday on the back-to-back. White, I don't think so. I don't think Kobe White, off a calf strain, who they've been very cautious with, will play the back-to-back. So I don't think he'll be there. Trey Jones is currently questionable for Sunday, so he's got to be in doubt for Monday too. And Cam Johnson missed the last game for Denver, and I don't know whether he plays, and that'll give us more information about the Tim Hardaway, Peyton Watson, Bruce Brown triumvirate, who are replacing Christian Brown and Cam Johnson. But we'll see what happens when Johnson's back, which one of those guys is actually more of the winner. Zach Collins remains out, but his return is coming soon for those of you who are big into Zach Collins. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, but not just on game day, it's every day. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. You channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money, trading stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. And you can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools. Or you take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, so expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that is robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. The NBA is back, basketball is on, college basketball is on as well, and you want to get into the arena to watch these gigantics of the hardwood battling it out every night. Getting tickets, though, has been a headache. It can still be a headache if you go to the wrong spot, but the surprise fees, the queues, the prices surging, that's not a thing on Game Time, because Game Time is the app that gives you, the fans, the advantage. It's the life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. You can actually see what the view is directly from your seat. You don't have to worry about guessing what additional fees are going to be at. Oh, this ticket is $50, and you get there, that'll be $63.92. You go, what? What? Why? Game Time shows you the price right up front. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. The code is LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. I've got the same procedure on the door to my bedroom, actually. Let's, you're here talking fantasy basketball with me as we preview Monday. Well, you're not talking. I'm talking, you're listening, and you might be talking to yourself, but I can't hear it, unfortunately. It's a one-way medium in that respect. Let's look at Monday's action. Let's look at how we can just put our thumb on the scale of the schedule and use that to our nefarious advantage. Not really nefarious. We're just using stuff that makes sense. Who's got back-to-backs? This is important because 4 teams are playing Sunday into Monday. And it's important because, does Kobe White play on Monday? Probably not. Anthony Davis, Derik Lively. I would say that if Davis is out Sunday, which we expect him, maybe he plays Monday, but Lively sits Monday. He's coming back off a knee strain. Clippers. Kawhi's just not going to play. Derek Jones is going to be out. Anyone else risky there? Not really. We're at the Pelicans. Zion just almost certainly will not play if he plays on Sunday. Don't think anyone else is too much of a risk there. And then you've got heading into Tuesday, and we talked about this on the Week 5 preview show, the way that you want to attack the stream for this week to maximize your games, get 7 games, 1 roster spot, 4 moves, is you hit a Piston Monday, Tuesday. I want to be able to get the information about who's in and who's out, because Denise Jenkins, Paul Reed might be great, but they also could be useless. Ron Holland's the main one who at least is going to be in the rotation, even if everyone returns. But the output from him is less than what you're getting from Jenkins. Or Levert's a risk of sitting or one of the back-to-backs anyway as well. Duncan Robinson's a good stream there. But it's the key, it is the one to hit. Because this is the way to max out your games for the week. So even if you think this player's a subpar guy, Reed, Holland, Robinson, Levert, whatever, getting a 2 for 1, and one of them, like Jenkins, might be 35 minutes, you should love that a lot. Let's talk chunks, because we know that the entirety of week 5 is a streaming week. Don't worry about low volume days this week. They're all low volume days for the vast majority of you. Every day is a low volume day. It doesn't need to be a day with 4 games on to be considered a stream target day. That does not matter. Just keep it under 11. 10 games on, you're going to be okay in like 85 to 90% of cases. 9 games on, you'll clear it every time. So every day this week is streamable. So chunks become interesting. If you don't want to use moves and max out 7 games for the week, which you can do, and holding ads for injury replacement players, which is, again, not a bad move in week 5, you want to hit chunks. These 5 names listed here are all at least 70% available. One of them is 90% available on Yahoo, and they play 3 games in the next 5 days. The big avocado, Andre Drummond, is just a must-roster player. Not only is Embiid out, but Boner is out. Derik, the Blizzard Queen. Are you saying yes to adding Derik? You should. I'm not convinced of his long-term appeal. I'm not convinced because of the percentages and defensive stuff, and I have no idea what happens with Zion. But we add him. The Hong Kong mattress, Casey Wallace. I don't think he's going to remain a must-roster player. But with Wiggins, Caruso, Williams, maybe not playing, 3 games in 5 nights, you might get literally 8 steals from Kaysen, 15 assists, maybe that's too many, 12 assists, and that's the time that you use him. Brandon Williams, yeah, stinker, like absolute stinker last time out, and D'Angelo Russell got the call ahead of him. I do not know what Jason Kidd will do. I've got no idea. And that's always a risky play, but I am still just jumping onto Williams right now, and I don't feel good about it. And then there is the Trojan, Domi Barlow. Barlow, really good player. He played big minutes last game. Now, it could be impacted if George does return, but we've got Oubre out, you've got Embiid out, you've got Boner out. Barlow, I know on some sites will list him as a small forward. He's not really. He's a power forward center. He's not a small forward, I don't think. So I don't know how much the Oubre stuff impacts him. But with those Paul George, Embiid boners being out, Barlow has opportunities. And 3 games, 5 nights, we like it. We do really like that. We'll come back and talk the streams of the day in a sec. Today's episode, though, it's also brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. When you're watching NBA games, you might miss the start and go, geez, I wanted to get a bet in on this game. I had a big lean here. Like I told you the other day about one where I said, those odds that FanDuel have set don't make any sense. Why are the Raptors only 6-point favorites against the Pacers? They'll cook them. And they did. But maybe you missed that, but you could have got in live, especially early on in the first half when the Pacers sort of kept it close. You could say, maybe Josh does know what he's talking about. Don't believe Josh, because he doesn't. But you could have had a crack at that and live betting. Got it. You could have also bet on who's going to score next. And you can combine those bets into one same game parlay with your live bets for a chance at a bigger payout. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So go to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, and don't forget to gamble responsibly. All right, we are rocking and rolling here on the daily preview show for Monday, and we're going to get in now, and we are going to talk streaming. Who are the streams of the day? That's a really good question, and I'm glad that you asked that. The difficulty, I guess, with this stuff, and I mentioned again, and I'll keep mentioning it too, is that I don't know who's available in your league. So I set some arbitrary roster percentage cutoffs for when I talk 10, 12, 14, 16 team leagues. But it might not apply to your league. It might not. I got no idea. So when I give the names, it doesn't mean I'm ignoring somebody else. It just means that based on the stats that I currently have in terms of how many leagues that guy is rostered in, I think as a general rule, he's probably not available. That's one of the and I don't really spruik or promote Basketball Monster that much, right? I don't sit here and tell you we got the best tools that are going to win you your league and you can check. I don't do that. I don't sit here and put that in your faces all the time. I don't do any of that. But one of the advantages of Basketball Monster is you upload your league in there and then you can look at the projections on a season-long basis, a daily basis, the next week basis, and it will tell you like who's actually available that is there in your league that you can have more accurate information that way. Anyway, 10-team streamer. Jordy Clarkson, the man on the street, Jordanclarkson. Yeah, like last game he started the second half with Anunoby out. Anunoby's out. Brunson's out. McBride is probably going to be out. Or could be out, is questionable. Regardless, McBride, Clarkson, Shamet are all going to see big boosts in their minutes. Because, they're not going to rely on Pacome Daddier or Tyler Kolek or whatever other randoms they got on their bench. So, Clarkson's a good stream. Paul Reed I'm putting as a good stream for this very specific reason. I think Tobias Harris is out. So, even if Duran plays, and he might, Isaiah Stewart probably moves over and plays at the 4, which means that Reed is the backup to Duran in 16, 18 minutes or so. Plus, you've got the chance that Stewart might be limited and Duran may not play. So I like streaming Reed here. And back-to-back. Bruce Brown for 14-team leagues. His minutes should be up. They went with an incredibly tight rotation last game. Now, Cam Johnson returning will have an impact, but if Jono's out, then Brownie might play 30 again. And then for deep leagues, 16-teamers. Sticks, Jalen Smith, Zach Collins out. He's been outplaying Vooch in a lot of games. And he's just got the ability to have a little cheeky 12 and 8 double-double in 16 minutes with a 3 and a block. Which for deep leagues, you're looking for someone who's available. And he is. Yahoo points and ESPN points, people just have not grabbed Andre Drummond. And that is insanely stupid. It is dumb. Yes, Joel Embiid probably does return at some point. But no one's going to sit here and go, I'm very confident in Embiid's return. No one does that. Why would you? You wouldn't do that. So Drummond just is an absolute must-add, must-roster player. He's also shooting, I think, about 48% from 3, which is going to come down. But he's a must-roster player. And must-roster does not mean that we'll be talking on March the 20th and he's still great. It just means, don't leave him on the wire now and have the mentality with a lot of this stuff. Figure it out in a few weeks. We'll see what happens. I think that's a better way to look at stuff a lot of the time. Especially when the opportunity is so, juicy for the big avocado. You don't ever call... Avocados aren't juicy, are they? That's not the adjective you would put onto an avocado. Orange, juicy. Lemon, juicy. Apple, crisp but juicy. What would you call an avocado? Creamy? Doesn't sound right. We're going to have some creamy avocado. 10-team streams. Jordan Clarkson, Paul Reed, Slammin, Sammy Merrill, and Lonzo Ball. Why are Merrill and Ball there? Both playing for Cleveland, while Tyson and Garland are out. So Ball has been putting up actually some solid numbers. Definitely if you're in a 175 deep league, Lonzo's got appeal at the moment while those two players are out. And Merrill can always go for 7 threes. He can play 28 minutes. Craig Porter's maybe another one, but we also saw that with players with Ball back, Porter moved behind him in the rotation and didn't have the value. So we are prioritizing Merrill and Ball. And then Bruce Brown's there as well. Again, you might not want to add Bruce Brown in a 10-team deep. He might be more suited to deeper formats. But I'm talking about a day like Monday when there are 8 games on. He is a possibility to stream in on these days. If he's going to get 30 minutes, he's a possibility for you. But he's so lowly rostered, Brown, that even in a 14-team or 175 deep league, you can consider him because he's probably going to be available in a lot of those spots. 12-team streamers. Sticks is there. Chris Dunn is there. Again, we're expecting that Derek Jones does not play. Bogdanovic could be an option for you as well, but it's always shaky with him. I don't actually know how he's going in the game right now. Don Barlow's on the list. Peyton Watson's on the list. And Timmy Hardaway. So Nuggets are there. And Watson and Hardaway's value will jump higher than this if we hear that Cam Johnson is ruled out, which I don't know yet. For deeper leagues in categories, obviously you're hitting those first 10 names we talked about already. And then there's Landry Shamet. Then there's Lou Dort. Then there's Jeremiah Robinson-Earl in what I believe is his second last game until they have to make a decision on whether they sign him rest of season. There's rugged Ronnie Holland II. And in Miami, with Hero out and Bam out, then Pala Larson is available everywhere. He's playing 25 minutes a night, and he's been all right. And if you're in a deep league, being all right, pretty good. Yahoo points streaming. 5 guys here. I think they're all relatively obvious, and a lot of them are must-roster guys. Andre Drummond and Derek Queen, they should just be on rosters. Isaiah Stewart's borderline, probably not a must, but you do like the stream appeal here. Jordy Clarkson's not bad as an ad for the short term, and then Jeremiah Fierce. He's also on that list as a guy to stream in who just hasn't been accepted by the masses. Not yet. ESPN, we've got similar names. Drummond, Stewart, Queen, Jordy Clarkson, and the last name there is Sam Merrill. The bonus you get on ESPN points leagues for three-pointers puts him into that spot. And that, my good folks, is the end of a daily look ahead for Monday in the NBA with 8 games on. We covered the schedule, we covered the games, we covered the injuries, and we covered the streaming. What you can cover now is subscribing both on audio and on video, but watching and listening to both at the same time, just letting that stuff play through, man. That's the great way to do it. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.